A lot of you have been wondering if the A's are a serious franchise. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think I'm personally in a position to weigh in on that, but I can tell you one thing. We're a serious podcast, and it's time to get serious about the A's. Welcome back to Funny Ball. Not a whole lot has happened. We have taken a 13-game hiatus from our last recording. The A's have gone 2-11 over that stretch and are currently riding a 9-game losing streak. So if you got ideas on how to make this pod exciting, we're taking them. I don't really have a whole lot to say.
Well, your Oakland A's are flailing at the moment, but it's okay. A lot of them are pretty close games. It's okay. Yeah, yeah. It seems like the camel's back has broken, and we're seeing the result of that. And it's unfortunate too because with these games being most of them truly like close, we're just constantly seeing the shortcomings of the roster come up because it's certainly not. This team has not given up by any stretch. Again, these are close games, and it just seems like it's a talent and a skill issue at the end of the day. And while that's disappointing, it's better than feeling like this team has given up. So that's where I'm at right now. Given kind of a golden participation trophy to the squad. Um, you feeling kind of similarly? You feel like they gave up more than me? What are your kind of thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're kind of in a weird spot in the season where they're too bad to really compete, but they're still too good to sell. So we'll see if that thinking changes
Well,
in a month or two. But
I don't know if they're too good to sell. I think it might be too early to sell,
I
or
guess I
maybe
guess
it's
no
not.
Oakland A's team is ever too good to sell.
No, well,
Never
truly
above that.
not. Like, I believe that Donaldson trade came amidst like some pretty decent years. So, like, yeah, it's definitely never too good to sell, never too early either.
Forget that he was
Probably,
an Oakland
I'd
A.
actually screw it. We usually like kind of have we go into the stars and the coal, and we kind of have a format for this. I kind of want to talk about like Rooker and Miller. I really think they're getting traded within the next month, and
Mm.
I've already kind of tried to be I've tried to prepare for that reality, and it's been a really hard reality to prepare for. um so again, not really kind of a dead end of a comment or a topic, just kind of more so using this podcast as therapy for just dealing with those inevitable losses.
Yeah, it's a safe space, so we can let it out. I Yeah, I think that I mean, there's certainly the guys with the most value at the moment, especially Brent Rooker. I mean, like any team, I think that's looking for like a universal DH to any contender that really needs like a universal DH and is generally set at most other spots in the field. They could definitely use a player like him. I am not
Yeah,
off the top of my head overly familiar with Brent Rooker's contract situation, so I'm not sure like how attractive that would be
well, it's
to a
just
potential
service
trade.
time, so
I haven't. I just pulled it up. He is at 2.059 as of January. Arbitrate. Oh, he's pre-arbitration. Arbitration eligible in 2025. It's a free agent in 2028.
yeah, so that's essentially as golden as it gets
Yeah.
realistically for a
Okay. So no,
29 year
no.
old.
Brent Rooker's getting traded. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
but even so,
pre-arbitration.
usually that
So
is seen as like too early because teams are like, oh, a really good player in his prime that has less than 3 years of service time. Let's use up a little bit more of that for us. But if you're the A's, what are you using it for?
right. Well, I mean, Mason
Yeah,
Miller. I almost think that it's almost more likely that Brent Rooker gets traded. I mean, Mason Miller has like a 0.166. Service time is so low. He's not even eligible for arbitration until 2026. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like even less service time under his belt. But
Welcome to the A's though, because it really is like there's just no timeline for competing, and hey, last time the A's were truly pretty good and making the playoffs pretty consistently, winning around 90 games, kind of came out of nowhere. Not a whole lot of top prospects, or certainly not high paid free agents. So, not to rule out the A's getting to that kind of point within the next few years, but there's definitely nothing in place to indicate that they will get there. So, with that being the case, I've just been hearing, just as everyone has. I don't have any sources. I don't have insiders that no one else has, and everyone seemingly is still just saying Mason Miller probably going to get traded. And if he doesn't, it's because no one would meet the value. And I'm just so curious as to what the value is. Like, are these forecasting him to be a starter on the trade market and wanting like good young up and coming starter value, or is his value of like an Aroldis Chapman when he got traded to the Yankees, back in the day when he had some years left, or at least a full couple years of service time. I don't know.
Right.
Again, questions that we can't answer, but
Yeah, I mean, Mason Miller, I don't think is a starter at like this point in his career, of course, but I think any team that trades for him is trading with the hope that he will become one. Within like a year or two, I would think. But I mean, I guess,
but like, I don't know.
I mean, also like generally he's been so nasty in the bullpen anyway. It's like if a team, most teams that are going to be trading for a player like that feel pretty good about their starting lineup. So I can't imagine I feel like they would just kind of just be trading just to add like a really solid, reliever to their bullpen.
The most solid.
Yeah, I mean, one of the still one of the best closers in baseball, even if he did get hit a little bit more than usual. I think he was.
I mean, statistically, 16 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Woo. I mean, it's hard not to look at those numbers and think that they're at least like a little bit unsustainable. So I can't even totally fault him for getting hit a little bit over the last 4 series. But yeah. Still so nasty. Stuff is good.
12 walks and 31 and 2/3. I mean, that was kind of the one thing coming into the year that I think some people, me included, were looking at as like a potential thing that can get out of hand. But the only thing we're worried about is an untouchable pitcher getting touched. I mean, again, 2.2. Yeah, gosh, he's been so good, and it does in my head just complicate it. Where like, clearly, if someone's trading for Mason Miller this year at the trade deadline, they're realistically trading for him to be their closer, or if they have, I'm trying to think, like Josh Hader. You can name the amount of guys in the league that would be a closer over Miller in the same bullpen. So I think anyone that trades for him, like I think the Yankees have mentioned, and I'm sure the Dodgers are floated around as well. Like those teams, he would be the closer probably, or at least have an opportunity to become the closer. And so that's what you're trading for this year. But I'm so curious if the package is going to take like 2 top 5 prospects and some more stuff, or if again it's just going to be kind of like give us a top 5 prospect, one other top 30 prospect, and
who has like a bevy of prospects that I guess like the A's would see.
Well,
the Phillies, you can make that argument too.
I think any team can technically trade for him. Like any team has. That's my main question. Is it going to require a package that not everyone can put together, or is it a package that everyone can put together, but it's just a lot, And the former usually is for like a young up and coming starter, where it's like the A's are going to have like a short list of 10 prospects in the league that they want one of them for Mason Miller if he's, they're projecting him as a starter. But again, if he's a closer and you're projecting him to be a closer, because again, the fact that that's what his role is this year coming in, and he's so good at it. Like if you trade for a guy who's striking out 16 guys per 9 and looking dominant as a closer, that's kind of hard to then risk his entire value and trying to have him become a starter, maybe he gets hurt, from stretching him out so much after him pitching, only 1 or 2 innings per appearance this year. And it's so complicated. It's a good thing we have a podcast to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, anyway, Mason Miller, rest in peace, King. I'm already kind of making peace with him shutting down doors for another squad this upcoming stretch.
If you're ever sitting around the pub watching the A's, pour one out for Brent Rooker and Mason Miller when you can.
Yeah, and then pour one out for yourself for being in a bar watching the A's.
Because if you're doing that, you probably got a problem. I can think of actually a few problems you might have if you're doing that. But
yeah, exactly. It's a good podcast for a team if we're making fun of people for watching that team.
Yeah. Well, this stretch, I think if you actually sat down and watched, and put yourself through like the heartbreak of watching them be up in like half these games and then just like blow the lead at the end, you deserve to pour one out for yourself, or you just deserve to just like order an extra couple of. Yeah, drink it. Like, why even pour it out? Yeah, like you kind of earned it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Don't waste.
Almost wear it as a badge of honor.
Juice.
Yeah.
Man. Well, yeah. I didn't really have much of an endpoint, much of a revelation to talk about with Mason Miller and Rooker, other than just the fact like it really did set in for me recently that. Like, this team's not good, and I do feel like there's still guys playing above their heads a bit, which is awesome. But like I feel like there's even a deeper hole to crawl into for this team, and the idea of losing Mason Miller and Brent Rooker as we are potentially getting ready to see if we're gonna crawl into that hole, it doesn't make me feel good about us evading the hole. So. Just had to talk about it a little bit again. It feels good to talk about these things, Will.
Yeah, it's cathartic in a way, knowing that, as bad as things are right now, they can get a whole lot worse. There's nothing more comforting than that feeling.
Oh, yeah. I'm comforted already as we speak. But, yeah. You want to go into Stars and Cole? You got anything more on Rook Mill?
We're calling it, like, is that like the new term for the rumor mill, like the Rook Mill?
The Rook Mill. Oh, I didn't even think of that way. Yeah, that is what it is. It's the Rook Mill. That's when we're talking trades from now on. I like it.
Yeah, the Rooker Mill. Yeah, let's just do it. I don't have a ton because these, it was just a monotonous stretch. I think like we're literally going to put in the description like such are the doldrums of June, May and June. I guess May and June because no, just June. Yeah, such are the doldrums of June. Yeah.
I mean May and June if you want to look at it that way as well, but mainly June.
Cool.
But yeah, are we a bad news first podcast?
We're still a bad news first podcast, so give me that lump.
Okay.
Give me that lump.
That didn't change. Okay.
No, it didn't. We're still holding to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's there's some choices. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give 1 star to Luis Medina.
1 star?
Or 1 lump of coal. Definitely.
I was going to say, like, with all the, I guess maybe a star for how well his command has looked in that that twin start, but.
Yeah, no, good thing you corrected me, or else I would have forever gone to history books and
you would have died in a very unnecessary hill to die on.
Exactly. Then I would have found myself trying to defend Medina.
Yeah.
No, not happening. 1 lump of coal. Kind of the fact that he's only getting 1 and not getting more has more to do with just how awful the lineup has been, and I feel like the lineup could be doing better. Some certain guys can be hitting better because they've done it in the past, and I feel like there's more cause and reason to depend on certain guys. Whereas Luis Medina and I feel like 8 other guys we've seen in the past 3 series, I have no expectation for them. they anyone who didn't start the year on the team and didn't have expectations coming into the year, I feel a little silly, Will, expecting a guy who was mediocre in AAA or a guy who's first getting his feet wet, in the 2024 season on the mound. I have a hard time blaming them too much when half of our lineup's hitting 150 in the past 3 series. So, gotta mention special Cole shout out to Luis Medina because the number's 9.31 ERA. The Twins start more earned runs than innings pitched, obviously. So 6 walks. Yikes. Shout out Luis Medina. And while there are a fair amount of pitchers that are struggling, not as much in the bullpen, which is pretty cool. Shout out to TJ McFarland as always. I feel like I have to mention one guy in the rotation who's not holding their weight, and it's Medina.
Yeah, Funky Cole Medina's been emphasis on the cold. Like how I did there. That's a little 90s throwback there for those of you in the crowd. I just killed in some dive bar in Oakland.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, maybe we should do this live from a dive bar in Oakland or something.
Dude, we would go platinum, I think, in a dive bar in Oakland.
Yeah. Quick anecdote. I went to like a weird bar type thing with some friends in a place called Pioneer Town. And it was like an old West themed town where they used to film movies back in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, kind of Western movies. They'd film it here in Pioneer Town, California. And did like a weird, little bar thing there, kind of a saloon. They called it a saloon. And Paul McCartney had performed there. Pretty cool. And the band that was performing there then did sound check the entire dinner while we were eating. And it was awful. Just don't go to weird old bars and dive bars while bands are doing sound check. If you've learned nothing else from this podcast this week. That's what I have there.
I'll have to check that. I feel like now I have to check it out,
I hope there's one person that's
I feel like you could like do like a whole
yeah.
You could film like a really crappy Western short there,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Can we get Kyle McCann out there? Kind of do a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we do a thing where it's like Kyle McCann and we're like kind of tossing rocks to him, and then with like long like wooden planks he's hitting them to the moon and stuff like that, and he's like unbelievable, and then we like cut to him trying to catch the rocks and he's like dropping every rock. Maybe we can do that type of thing with Kyle McCann, and he'd agree to do that.
I feel like if there's any Oakland A's player that is in a situation in their career where this would actually still benefit them, I feel like it would benefit Kyle McCann.
Maybe you just have a fun time. You would just get the benefit of having a kind of fun off day. You know who seems like a cool dude? Brett Harris. I saw a video of him like opening up like a pack of baseball cards with this other guy on the field, and seemed like a very chill, good dude, laid back, down to earth. And it made me sad that I've probably said some negative things about him on this podcast. So shout out to Brett Harris. I want to bring Brett Harris to Pioneer Town. So we'll clip this. We'll send it to Brett Harris 100 times.
Hang up the banner. Yeah.
Do you think if we DM Brett Harris's clip 100 times, he will do it?
I think he'll say no after the 69th time.
Oh, you think Brett Harris is that kind of guy? That's how he rolls.
No, but he'll say no as the bit, and then the 70th one he'll be like, yeah.
Oh, Brett Harris is a comedian, man. I'm learning more about Brett Harris every day. Yeah. All right. Well, now we've pinpointed the player that we're bringing to Pioneer Town, which is good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let this not distract us from the fact that Luis Medina wasn't good for the past little stretch. So
lest we forget.
Yeah, lest we forget. Anyway, let's get this bad taste out of our mouth. Who's getting a star?
Who I'm giving a star this week is JJ Bleday, our starting center fielder. He's
Mm.
actually recorded the most hits over the last four series with 15. Shout out JJ Bleday. He is not quite as hot as he was last month, but he still have had an OPS of .819 over the last four series. He has shown a vast improvement at the plate this season. He's actually already eclipsed last year's hit total by a lot. In fewer plate appearances. So it's nice to see that he's working on his game. He has started every game in the last 13 at center field. So yeah, it's. I feel like even as well as he hits, I feel like he just kind of goes under the radar. Like whether he's like doing like really good or just like really bad. I don't know. It's kind of a weird aura with JJ Bleday, but
I've got a funny stat for you that can
okay.
even like contextualize how you're feeling. It's funny that you say all
Instead of like
that.
having a German like psychology word to describe this feeling, like now we're gonna have like an AIDS related stat that's gonna describe it instead.
It's not specific. It's specific to anyone that wants to go out and actually look it up and look at it. I'm not gonna give numbers, but it was pretty cool. I saw this person on Reddit, I believe, kind of did a whole project where he wanted to decipher who the five tool players in baseball were and the one tool players in baseball were, mainly emphasizing the one tool, but he definitely listed out the five tool players. And he kind of just took some important stats for each tool: hit, power, fielding, speed, and arm are the five tools. And kind of just had some stats to back each one, and kind of had a threshold that you had to pass to be considered a player with that tool. And JJ Bleday was one of like the only seven or eight five tool players in all of baseball. Ironically, and probably presumably, he was easily the worst one out of all of the five tool players listed. And like all of his tools, I think literally he was like the lowest out of every tool, looking at all of the five tool players.
But I
But it's
still
very
had.
funny how he sneakily was able to like land himself on there. And I think it's like poetic justice, because he truly is like, he doesn't get too hot, he doesn't get too cold, he doesn't stand out really negatively in any way. And that is because he is just he's the LeBron James. No, he's not even. I was gonna go the other way. He is the Nick Punto of LeBron James's. Like he is he's incredibly mediocre at everything. Which, as you know, only seven or eight of them in baseball, and all of them are a lot better than Bleday. He's kind of the only guy you can say that about in baseball. That he's not an all-star, not an incredible player, but he's good enough at everything to be considered good at it. So, yeah, very funny, and I was happy that you mentioned Bleday, because I saw that and got a kick out of it. And he really has been good in this stretch. I mean, nearly a 300 average, 820 OPS, played every day. Good defensively. He's got the defensive, field and arm tool. So yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, but he's still kind of young, isn't he? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
so it's not like he's.
27 maybe. I
I
mean, he's not
doubt
super
he's
young.
hitting his. Yeah. Okay. 27. All right. Yeah. So I mean,
He
it's not like
he
he's like hit
is
his
he actually
ceiling at this point
27?
either. Let me look. He is. He's
26.
26. Okay, he's 26.
Yeah.
All right. Like
He
there's time. I think. I mean, I know he's like the crappiest five tool player you're gonna see in the field, but it's good that
Well, no, but that's good. Like all that,
yeah.
I definitely want it to be like it's a positive. That's crazy that he is actually like statistically, again, in an experiment where there's only six, seven other five tool players. It's one thing if, like, according to this guy's algorithm, there's like 50 of them. There's only seven of them. The other ones were Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., and like those guys. Aaron Judge was not a five tool player. Juan Soto is not a five tool player. Jordan Alvarez is not a five tool player. Like, there's a lot of really good players that Trey Turner was not a five tool player because of arm. Like it's kind of it's really hard to be a 5-tool player according to this algorithm. And yeah, I just can't say how impressed I am by it. But then like it's equally impressive that he is a 5-tool player and he's JJ Bleday. Like, like he's not a name guy as well as he has not put together a great solid full season of Major League Baseball yet. But but yeah, I mean he's just incredibly solid.
I'm gonna
Definitely
coin a like
mediocre.
I was gonna coin a German word for it.
Go.
I've been thinking Toolbladenfreude. That's the
I'm so gonna forget you coined that and you're gonna use it and I'm gonna like my gears in my head are gonna turn harder than they've turned before. I love it. Definitely use it again. Like bring it up for the first time in a while. And I'm excited to see how I react. Um
Toolbladefreude. Yeah, okay. I'm working on it.
Toolbledafreude.
Or
I
maybe
like
just
it.
Bladefreude. Yeah, yeah.
Rolls off the tongue a bit easier.
Toolbladefreude. Yeah,
Yeah, that's his full name. That's when you're going full government. It's Toolbledafreude.
yeah.
Um I like it. By the way, too, kind of interesting and worth mentioning, Blade was like a top prospect at one point. I
I
mean,
believe that.
of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
beginning.
especially yeah.
But
No,
like for
I'm
the
not shocked by
Marlins,
that.
he was seen as a guy coming up, which is why all this is kind of cool that he's yeah he I mean not maybe as highly touted as I thought maybe, but Major League Baseball had him as the 28th overall prospect pre 2020 and the 20th pre 2021. And then get ready for this 69th pre 2022.
Hey, there we go. JJ
But
Bladay's a
that's
comedian too.
exactly, yeah, exactly. The ghost of JJ Bleday just spoke through me just now. Um, but uh, but yeah, so I mean, there was definitely some pedigree there, if not now at one point. So I'm willing to believe that there's some more to be dug up there. There's more good Bleday to be had. We're not kind of seeing the best of what he can do. So yeah, good. I'm happy we can be positive about JJ Bleday today.
Yeah. Well, remember if you're feeling down, tomorrow's always a new Bladay.
Oh,
That's
that's
right there. I had to take it.
that's
I'm
that was really
sorry.
no, it was really good. No, don't apologize. Never apologize for really good moments.
Great.
Man. Well, two lumps of coal. I'm at this point procrastinating, being really negative about one of our hitters. Um, mm,
Hmm. I
yeah.
don't like that sound. It sounds like it's gonna be somebody that we
Mm,
like in the pod.
uh,
Arr.
arg, matey. Yeah, yeah. Ironically, it's going to Brent Rooker.
Mm,
After
yeah.
waxing poetic about him for quite a long while at the beginning of the pod, this is more so too. Like, there's quite a few guys that are kind of just playing just as poorly as he is. Like, this could go to Shea Langoliers. It could go to, Max Schumann. Like, there's other guys this could go to. But yeah, it's just he is like the guy that we're depending on to kind of do everything, and we were depending on way too much at different points throughout the year. And for him right now in the stretch of sub 500 OPS, none of the other numbers really matter. And for him to be at a point defensively where you don't feel good about even playing him in the field, let alone at a specific position, he needs to always kind of hit to make us feel really good and happy about him. And he kind of deserved a stretch too of going on autopilot. But yeah, kind of amidst a huge losing streak, it's definitely stood out to me. And also, like the kicker is just the fact that like if we are gonna trade Brent Rooker, we want his value to be as high as it possibly can, and for him to kind of go cold before the trade deadline. And we still have some ways to go. He can get hot again, but for him to go cold, kind of not too long before he's inevitably getting traded, not good. It's like kind of kicking us while we're down. Like we're gonna have to trade this guy, and there's a chance if he continues to not hit well that we're not gonna get as much for him as we otherwise would have if he kind of hit near his baseline. Unless we're wrong about his baseline and he was just way too hot earlier in the year, and his baseline is somehow even closer to this than what it was earlier. So We'll see, but 2 lumps.
Two
Lump of dope.
stars.
Yeah, I like getting into the stars. Let's get past those lumps.
Yeah, I'll give you a guy who, and I know we kind of, you know, I guess this is sort of the flip side of the Luis Medina treatment.
Mhm.
A guy who didn't start the season with the team, and we
Mhm.
virtually had like no expectations for coming into the season. Hogan Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, Hogan Harris over his last three starts has a combined three earned runs. He has given up respectively four, three, and four hits in each of his last three starts. He's walked three, two, and then one guy in his last three starts. And he's pitched all of or into the sixth inning in all three of them. So he's been shoving. He's been great. And it's been cool. Didn't have like a ton of expectations for Hogan Harris going into the season, but he's giving some length. He's giving some stuff, and we are just over the moon, I think.
Yeah. I mean, one of the 2 games we won in this stretch, we only won because of him because we only scored 2 runs in the
Yeah, I mean
game.
it's impressive that he's played as well as he has, and because the run support has just been like so lacking in most of these games. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, love what Harris has done, and it kind of is just like a default one where like it didn't really matter how he got to the end result of having a sub 1 whip and pitching well, getting the win, and giving up only the 3 earned. But if you do that on this team with the way that the rest of the rotation has been performing, that's just like an automatic tip of the cap on this podcast. So yeah, love it. Not much to analyze. I hope it continues. I don't want to analyze it too much because it does feel a little bit fool's gold, a tiny bit. It feels like just mathematically one of our starters had to perform all right, and I didn't really see anything with sabermetrics or the Statcast or anything that would point to any difference in now versus when he wasn't pitching as well, other than just the stats themselves being better. None of like the like pitch mix, or it's not like there's any big change to his repertoire. So yeah, here's to hoping it continues, and if it does, then definitely, but we'll do a deep dive on like how he's getting there and how he's like being effective, because that would be a welcome sight, wouldn't it? Hogan Harris being like good.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I just pulled up the TJ McFarland baseball reference page, or not baseball reference, baseball savant page. It's still nuts. I
I'm
don't
gonna
get
take a
it.
gander myself.
It's
He's
crazy.
he's truly like having one of the weirdest good seasons by a relief pitcher in recent memory.
Well, yeah, yeah, just weird. Like it's so crazy.
Oh, I love that he's first percentile in fastball velocity.
Yeah,
That's
right. Yeah.
awesome. That's
But if you
awesome.
go to like
His what's his average
2022,
fastball's 87. Oh my god, that's like a changeup.
but here, wait, go to 2020 or like 2019. Go to the
Okay.
years where he was like pitching a lot.
Mm. Okay.
And then like go back. Like there's certain things like the ground ball percentage, he's always been like a crazy ground ball guy. But like
Yeah.
the xERA, average exit velocity, barrel percentage, and hard hit, like the fact that he is literally at the top of the league in these incredibly important pitching metrics, after never really having done so before. And again, he's a relief pitcher. Not a huge sample size. We'll see. Call me when the season ends, type of thing. But like, it's unbelievable. And to me, it's like, how can you not be romantic about baseball type thing? Like, I feel like in some other sports, there's different ways you can be effective, different body types, different this and that. But there's no sport like baseball where you can be Aaron Judge, you can be TJ McFarland, you can be Jose Altuve. Like you can literally look like ha- be as tall as, be as big as, or as small as. Like you can literally. There's no human, I don't think, that like can physically be in shape that can't be good at baseball without a lot of dedication, or at least literally where like their body type or their anything of the sort, physical characteristics make them unable to be a baseball player. Because again, just look at TJ McFarland, man, and like that he has to be one of the kind of. He's not, though. I'm looking at stats, 3.54. I was gonna say he's one of the scarier relief pitchers, but that's why it's so funny and ironic to me is that like at the end of the day, a 3.54 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, it's good and it's better. It's as good as we could ever hope for from TJ McFarland. But then to know that he is in the 99th percentile in some very important statistics, average exit velocity. Literally, there's like you can in one hand like there's only a handful of pitchers who allow softer contact than TJ McFarland, and that bamboozles me.
Yeah.
Funny.
How can you not
It
be
came up
romantic
on my
about
screen.
baseball?
Hard not to comment. Hard not
Yeah.
to be romantic about baseball. Seriously. But anyway, where were we?
Dishonorable mentions.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry to
Be
burst your
sure.
TJ McFarland bubble there. I mean, we can spend the next 30 minutes waxing poetic about TJ McFarland, but
we already did a lot more than any other podcast.
I think we've done more. I think we've done more than every other podcast about
TJ McFarland, on the very off chance somehow this came across your desk, which I assume you have in the Coliseum is a desk, and just on the off chance somehow this got to you, literally we could get offered an interview or some time with anyone else on this team, and there's some guys just objectively that baseball fans would want to be able to talk to, pick the brain of. Brent Rooker is going to be a 2-time All-Star probably. TJ McFarland, there's no player we'd like to talk to more than you. I swear. 10 minutes with TJ McFarland is an hour in heaven to us. So
time moves
please-
slower in the world of TJ McFarland.
an interview with TJ McFarland, that time's going to move so slow, and not because we're not having fun, but because it's just a literal. I expect to be in a different dimension where time moves different, in such a world where I get to talk to TJ McFarland about how he gets so many ground balls and such weak contact while throwing like a really elite high schooler. So yeah. Anyway, not even, because the high schoolers nowadays are throwing in the 90s.
Really? Are they actually?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I believe
I remember growing up and when I had when I say pipe dreams, I mean pipe dreams of like continuing to keep playing baseball more and more and more, and like playing some of the good high school teams and looking around in college and stuff like that. Like guys are throwing the heat now at that age, where when I was growing up, no, like it was a lot softer. And it's been a funny parallel between like Major League Baseball and how average fastball velocity has risen pretty much every year for the past couple decades, especially the past decade, and how I feel like that's been, that's translated to like the younger ranks too. Everyone's trying to throw faster, and everyone's having more TJ surgery. So correlation there, maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, dishonorable mentions. Like, you really want me to like talk about guys that aren't playing well? Is that what you're looking for?
I guess. I mean, if you want to put it like that, sure.
Shea Langoliers and Max Schumann.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Because Gelof's actually been all right lately. At
Yes,
the
he
home run,
has.
And just my expectations are so low now because they were so high, and then like I had to like readjust my perception of Gelof and like what he was going to do this year. There's been some life lately, so good on Zach. And yeah, I just think Shea Langoliers and Schumann's got a 335 OPS, not average, not slugging, not on base, 335 OPS, and Langoliers 456 in the last 13 games, and that's too bad. Not much to go over. They are just not hitting right now. And both guys have received stars in the past and have hit well in the past. And I think that's my whole thing. I don't want to give a lump of coal to someone that I think is, playing anywhere near where their baseline is. And I think that Schumann and Shea can hit a lot better, as can Brett Rooker, clearly. So, yeah, not much to deliberate there for me.
Cool. I got some honorable mentions. Or no, are we going to three? Are we going to three lumps or
No, give me
give some honorable mentions? All right.
Somebody.
It was a guy
Mention
who
someone
right up until yesterday I was going to give a star to, and he kind of just like ripped it out of my hands and my heart. Joey Estes. Yeah, Joey Estes, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. So he had some great he had a great start against the Mariners, and then he did like okay against the Padres, and then he got like shelled against the Twins. He gave up 6 runs and didn't make it out of the 3rd inning. But against the Mariners, he carried a perfect game into the 7th. And against the Padres, he gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. So it's kind of a tale of 3 different starts for Joey Estes. But I was really excited after the Mariners won. I think that's why like he started off with a really good one, and then the kind of like, the, I suppose, recency bias is kind of taking its toll here. But yeah, I got to give him an honorable mention at least, just because of how like good that looked. The slider especially like just looked like really nice in that game. I remember like watching that specifically in the Mariners game. But yeah, no stars, just gets an honorable mention, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, very mature of you to still give him an honorable mention, because I mean,
thank you. I'm working on that.
Now when you look at the last 3 starts, it's a 5.79 ERA, but it's good to see through the bullshit, and give him the mention, because I mean, killer. I was ready too. Like I was like, I would have been upset if you didn't give him like 3 stars if he did anything okay in the last game and it went the way it did. So totally understandable. And
I actually do have. Sorry, I forgot. I have another like mystery honorable mention I want to give.
Please.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
no, please.
I want to give like a quick one to the A's infield. I believe they are. I think they lead the league in turn double plays this season.
Oh,
either they lead or they are close to the top in that. I remember hearing something about that. They're in the 73, something like that. They're in like the 70s in terms of turn double plays this year. They're definitely like towards the top of the league. So that's a little bit of good on that's a good in their infield, especially Zach Geloff, Max Schumann, and whoever's starting at first, Soderstrom or JD
awesome.
Davis. Yeah, but quick shout out to their infield for making that happen.
Yeah, that's great. You know who you reminded me of when you mentioned the infield? Nick Allen.
Rest in peace, Nick Allen. We allowed to say that?
And, yeah, but can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Would you mind if I told you something?
Not at all. Go ahead.
Nick Allen's played 1 less game at AAA this year than he played in the majors this year. So pretty similar sample size. Not entirely, because he didn't start every game in the majors, so he has far less plate appearances. But more or less, 27 games in AAA, 28 in the majors. Would you care to guess how he's playing at AAA?
I haven't heard
throw me an average. Throw me an average or an OPS.
All right. I haven't heard much about him, so I'm gonna assume. And usually, I hear if like a guy's been optioned is like playing well. I haven't heard much about him. I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna say he's been batting 210. Yeah, that's generous. 210, sure. 210.
210 is what you're going with?
Yeah, 210.
So right now in AAA, Nick Allen is hitting .361 with an .892 OPS.
Oh, you're kidding. Really?
Not kidding.
I have not heard anything. That's crazy. I haven't heard anything about this either. That's like, and I usually like try to keep up with like, okay, wow. That is surprising.
I think we're starting to truly learn that Nick Allen is like such a tweener right now, where like he's a quadruple A player, as they say. Keston Buera, shout out. But Yeah, every time he comes to the majors, 2023 is 221 average, 550 OPS. This year, 171 average, 470 OPS. 2023 in AAA, 939 OPS. This year,
Wow.
892. It's pretty crazy. It is like a special little shout out to Nick Allen if he's still listening to us, as we know he once was. Just because, yeah, that's rough, and there are just a lot of casualties of just it's really hard to hit in Major League Baseball, and how you can literally be a great AAA hitter and just be a putrid Major League hitter, right? The next day. It's crazy to me, and Nick Allen is absolutely one of those guys as of now. So pretty wild. Thought it was worth mentioning.
Not what I expected. Definitely exceeded my expectations. So good for him.
You haven't apologized yet for your gross underestimation of how well Nick Allen's playing at AAA.
Oh, Nick Allen, I apologize for I was not familiar with your game. I did not realize that you turn into Juan Soto when you go to the minors. I hope that you find your way back up to the lineup soon. We do love Max Schumann up here, though, so you may have to try to make something work somewhere else. But we wish you all the best. And
Aaron Boone's nephew, by the way. Aaron Boone's nephew.
Is he actually?
That's true. I think that's true.
Like biologically related, or like?
No, like married his daughter, I believe.
Oh, okay, got it.
Or
still counts.
Or not married his daughter. Or here, wait, let me look up. If I'm going to bring up the connection, then I might as well follow through. Okay. So Nick Allen married to Boone's niece.
Yeah, actually. Nephew-in-law.
So it's a little bit nephew-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Nephew-in-law. Okay.
Has spent time at the Yankee Skipper's Greenwich, Connecticut home. Shout! If you're in Greenwich, Connecticut, watch out for Nick Allen. All right, he's on the streets. Cool. All right, that was good. I feel like a good little Nick Allen retrospective, and where is he at now? That was very due and needed.
Agreed. Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. Where were we?
3 lumps of coal. That's where we were. Really? I feel like you always ask me like where we are, and I just have to like turn it back into like we're at the bad part.
Oh gosh, because I keep on trying to get out of my head that we have to be mean on this podcast. That shouldn't be in our nature. Well, if I have to be mean, I will say Abraham Toro's kind of sucked recently. Yeah, just leading the team in at bats, hitting leadoff pretty much every game, and to be a 170 leadoff hitter is rough. And it's technically he's not been playing worse than everybody, but to be the leadoff hitter and be a guy too that I remember saying in the past and genuinely feeling in my heart that he was kind of one of those guys who never got too hot, never got too cold, kind of a JJ Bleday, if you will. To see him get this cold for this long of a stretch, 53 at bats, and it's tough. And when he already doesn't provide a lot in extra base hits and on base, he needs to have a decently high average or just get at least singles pretty consistently to be valuable at all. And he has not been doing that. And I feel like I've given him a lot of praise in the past, again, just kind of about how his consistency pretty much. And he's not been consistent recently. Well, he's been consistently bad. But again, nothing too much to complain about in the field or anything like that either.
No, he actually had some nice foul out catches, but
yeah,
in some of the games in the last 4 series. I know it was the Mariners series. Yeah, even the Twins series. I know like he's had some nice like defensive plays, but yeah, no, at the plate, I'm certainly not going to disagree with you though. It's been terrible. Yeah.
Hey, we can move on. Let's move on from that.
Oh, let's move on. Okay.
Let's move on.
Well, 3 stars is a guy who really kind of came out of nowhere. I know you love the story of this, but Tyler Soderstrom taking back the first base job with his bare hands when they're playing righties. Not so much against lefties, but when they're playing righties, He's taken back that job. He's recorded 13 hits over the last 4 series. He has an OPS. He's dotting 1.076. He's one dotting, and he's had 4 home runs during that time. He's recorded an RBI in every game of the Padres series. He is just playing a good amount at first now, and I think he's at the very least reinserted himself into the platoon at first. We'll see if he gets a lot of opportunities against lefties. I think that's kind of the next step for him. But yeah, Tyler Soderstrom's been he's been a first base guy, so we're happy to see that for him. I mean,
Heck yeah.
turning a lot of double plays, he's been a big part of that too. So we're happy to see that. Even defensively, he's been shining. So
Yeah. I mean, I hope that this is now when we say, oh yes, Soderstrom took the first base job, or at least took the fourth, fifth, sixth spot in the lineup, and he never looked back. Because yeah, I mean, 1.076 in the last 13 games, appeared in at least 12 of them. We'll see if it continues with some pop. I mean, the only source of pop, the only other guy who's had multiple home runs in this stretch is who was it here? It was Blade, who we've highlighted and has also been awesome. But other than Blade, he's the only one that's doing anything, and he's doing a lot. So yeah, if Soderstrom can actually keep, I'm curious if Soderstrom truly keeps something like this up, and then like for the next month has like a over 800 OPS. I wonder if he gets traded, or at least if a team comes calling about him. I mean, it's kind of the mode that we have to be in now a little bit, because it's like there's not a whole lot of rules. If anyone has value, and like if another team wants a player, and they're like willing to give you like more than what you think that player's worth, it doesn't really matter how old, how young, service time, about to be a free agent, long away from being a free agent. Anyone can get dealt if the value's there. So we'll see. But yeah, heck yeah, Soderstrom's been awesome.
Kind of crazy that he's also been managing to get playing time, because it seemed like he was just completely buried, at the start of the year when McCann took the backup catcher job, kind of a little by surprise, definitely by surprise, actually.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I wasn't
kinda,
terribly surprised because he wasn't going to get the backup catcher role. I mean, we see how little McCann plays. McCann's played so well that he's forced, Cotz's hand into some more time, but like there wasn't really a pathway to too much playing time, and getting him work at first and stuff in the minors, and he's looked good over there since being in the majors, good enough at least that yeah, like he there could be a future in Soderstrom, or at least a future in like him being the key piece in a trade where the A's are getting something back, where like JD Davis, what's the best case scenario is like a team trades for him as a rental, and I don't know how many great teams would ever trade for JD Davis to be an everyday player. So there's just not much of a future there in terms of value back as well as performance on the field. And Soderstrom can give you both potentially. So yeah, happy, good stuff. And oh yeah, and just about like the pathway. Yeah, I think just no one stuck enough at first. I mean, we even saw Diaz get a shot, and we saw how that's kind of gone and went. So yeah, I think Sodi's deserved it, and hopefully he remains an A. Hopefully, if everyone else gets traded, we can at least have one youngish guy in the team that we're like, could be a future there. I can just start off with the trivia and intro the trivia if you want. Unless, is there anything else?
No, hit me with some trivia. I want it.
Cool.
Give it to me. Give it to me, is what Kyle McCann said to the backup catcher job.
Ooh.
Give it to me.
Give it to me. All right. Will.
Yes.
I've got some trivia here.
Okay.
I want to ask you some trivia questions throughout the season, and then I'm going to keep your win-loss record. And throughout, there's going to be certain benchmarks, certain checkpoints. You won't know when they're coming. For example, maybe once you get 8 questions right, you will get a surprise or you will get a gift. And again, you don't know when these, and the audience won't know when these surprises or gifts or benchmarks are coming. But just know, the more correct answers you give, the more good things you're going to get in the future. And this is going to roll on to a lot of different episodes now throughout the rest of the year. Is that all understood? And are you ready for some trivia?
That is all absolutely understood. And just for the audience to see, I'm not going to look any of these up. I'm just going to have my hands right here. I'll even have my hand.
Hands up.
I'll cross my arms. How about that? I'll just cross my arms like
Ooh,
this.
I like
Yeah.
it.
I cross
Anti-cheating
my arms
mechanism.
and yeah, go for it. I'm ready.
And you
Hit
hope to
me.
die.
I don't know about that part, but yeah.
Alrighty. Are you ready for the first ever Funny Ball Pod trivia question?
Oh yeah, hit me.
Remember what's at stake. The more correct answers you get, at some point you're going to get something. And the more bad answers you give, maybe you get something bad at some point. I would keep that in mind too. Um,
I'm a man feeling dangerous at a Vegas blackjack table. Hit me.
all right, all
Yeah.
right, all right. This player enjoys playing golf, fishing, and wakeboarding.
That's interesting. I had golfing, fishing, and wakeboarding.
And by the way, you're probably never going to get multiple choice.
Okay. Do I get a hint?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Um I don't know why the first person that came to mind was Shea Langoliers. Was it Shea Langoliers?
Is that final answer?
I'm gonna that was the first person that came to mind when you said all three of those things. It was either him or Brett Harris, but I was gonna go with Shea Langoliers.
You got very close. It's Kyle McCann.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, right position.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You got just about. There's no half points here either, so you're gonna be a
Yeah,
solid.
I'll take the
1.
loss, but that's a moral victory though. Getting in
0
the
for 1.
yeah. Okay.
Whatever you
0 for 1.
say. At the end of the day, it's just an L on this page.
Streets will remember it as like a half W though.
In your head, it can be, but I mean, hey, that's it's not how we count things over here at A's Trivia. This player has worked for the Idaho Department of Fish and Game during his off seasons.
Idaho.
The Idaho Department of Fish and Game.
What? I mean, I assume that it's a player who's like from like the Pacific Northwest. I guess if you
Probably
count
Idaho.
Probably Idaho. Oh god, the only player that I know is from like the Pacific Northwest is Mitch Spence, but he's from like Washington though. Probably not Mitch Spence though. I don't have a better. All right, I know this is probably all right. Mitch Spence just because like he's the closest to Idaho. Mitch
Locking
Spence.
in?
Lock it in.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That would be Seth Brown. Works for the
Seth
Idaho
Brown.
Department of Fish
Is he
and Game.
from? I'm not gonna look this up. Is he from Idaho?
I actually didn't look that up myself. I
Okay.
kind of assumed so. I think when I first saw that.
I mean, that's such like a random place to like be like working in their fish and game department, but
he's from Oregon. Interesting.
Okay.
Maybe he moved to Idaho though, or something.
well, I mean, you could always be from like East Oregon and be part of like the greater Idaho movement. Like there's a
I
lot
don't
of
know if
Idaho.
you can.
You haven't heard of the greater the East Idaho movement or the
Oh, I've heard of it.
Greater
I
Idaho
just
movement?
I've never known anyone not from Idaho or East Idaho for that matter to be part of it.
Or West.
But
Yeah, I actually did know someone from college who was from that one county in Oregon where they have the different time zone.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
shout out Ben Hart.
Shout out Ben.
Yeah, shout out Ben Hart. That was the one. They were the one person I knew that lived in. They were they were in Oregon, but they're on Mountain Time, which is like wild. They're like the one
That's
county in
funny.
Oregon that doesn't observe Pacific because they're like I guess protesting against the rest of Pacific Time in Oregon.
That's what the news doesn't tell us about.
I mean, I knew about it,
that
but I don't know. I guess
the
maybe
news
I'm more
didn't
well
tell you.
informed on my Oregon news than the average East Coaster.
Huh. I'm just reading here in the Idaho Department of Fish and Game. On January 5th, 1981, 2 officers, Bill Pogue and Conley Elms, were killed in remote Owyhee County. Wildlife trapper Claude Dallas was subsequently convicted of manslaughter in their deaths. Now, probably shouldn't be calling out people that potentially are murderers and victims of murder on a podcast not about true crime. Putting information out there, but pretty crazy. So Seth Brown, maybe we got to be worried about his safety a little bit.
That's a little scary, actually. Like, I guess I suppose that any fish and game department, like, there's bound to be accidents, but, I guess, like, if the murder rate is, a little higher than you would expect,
It's higher than one.
it's higher than 1. Um, I suppose there's a non-zero chance of that, like, anywhere you are, but, that's a little concerning.
It's just ironic. Sorry, I had to go into that, but in a very, very short Wikipedia page, that is one of the very few things that's mentioned about the Idaho Department of Fish and Game is this crazy manslaughter murder in 1981 of 2 officers. So
Jeez.
there you go.
Does,
Watch your back, Seth Brown.
does, Seth Brown work there just, like, during the off season?
Yeah, during his off seasons.
Love that. Good for him.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Newfound respect. Okay, I've got 2 more questions. You're
Yeah,
over
go
2
for it.
right now.
All right, yeah, I'm over 2. Okay.
Oh, I like a good. You get 4 plate appearances in a game. You get 4 trivia questions. 4 plate appearances in trivia.
That's a full game. That meant that I started the game usually,
Yeah.
so I'm happy with that.
We'll see if you
I
can
will
finish
say,
strong.
like, come on, you gotta give me a little credit for, like, knowing that, I got the catcher for the first one, and then the second one was, like, a guy from the Pacific Northwest. I
Hey.
also just didn't know that there was another player from the Pacific Northwest, but
The kid in 2.5 Men is like pretty much a man for most of the show, and they only count him as a half man the entire time. All right, if you're gonna ding him on his existence as a man, you better be expecting to get dinged on answering these questions wrong.
yeah,
all right?
well, I'm gonna hit some dingers for the last 2 questions here, my last 2 play
We'll see.
appearances, so we'll see. All right.
We'll see. This one's a 2 answers. There's 2 answers, so technically you could get half credit for this one, and I would give it to you. I would give you half credit, and I better see those hands up. There are 2 A's from Pennsylvania. Who are they?
Oh, one is Mason Miller. I know that. One is
Mhm.
Mason Miller. Shoot, the other one. I actually didn't know there were 2. I know Mason Miller's from PA though. That one, like, that's a surefire. All right, good. We're on the board.
We're on the board.
Other one. Don't tell me.
I'm definitely not telling you.
Just going through every player in my head.
Out of curiosity, what are you doing in your head to deduce this?
I'm just trying to, like, think of, like, every starting player, like, for the A's, and, like, trying to remember if I had seen anything. Like, I know
Gotcha.
where some of them are from. Like, I actually do, like,
Right.
know where some of them are from. I was trying to remember if, like,
I didn't know in your head if you're like imagining all the players. You're like, that doesn't look like a Philly guy, or like that guy could.
well, Mason Miller's actually from the Pittsburgh area, I think. And he
Gotcha.
actually, like, I mean, like, to be fair, like, he looks like somebody who's, like, from, like, the Pittsburgh area. In my
Honestly,
opinion.
yeah.
Like I look at him and I'm like, that guy's a Yinzer for sure.
Yeah.
But
You've got 7 seconds, Will.
okay. Shoot. Oh, this is gonna be weird. Nick Allen. I'm gonna guess Nick Allen. No, he's from
You know what?
California.
I'm actually gonna give you another guess. It's only players currently on the team.
Oh,
not
okay.
AAA.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Nick. And as soon as I said that, I was like, no, Nick Allen's from California. I'm pretty
Maybe I'll
sure.
open it up to just all
Okay.
A's people in the future.
I'm gonna go with JP Sears.
You're halfway there. It's JJ Bleday.
Ah, darn. That's
I thought you had it after the first J. In JJ,
Oh,
but,
okay.
All right, you are 0.5 for 3.
Okay, I'll take that, I guess.
I guess that's like maybe
That was like a
fly.
fielder's choice runner out at second kind of.
I was gonna give you a sack fly maybe.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sack fly. Okay, JJ Bleday is from PA. I did not expect that.
Dansville. Wherever that is. Never heard of it, never
Dansville.
been.
Actually curious where that is.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
no,
as
I'm
you're
not allowed to
looking
look
into
that up. Sorry, wasn't allowed to look that up.
Yeah. Wait. Actually, wait.
I didn't look it up.
I've got a question that's going to require all of your focus.
Okay. All right. Let me just close
And
that
your
tab.
attention.
All right. I'm here.
You ready?
All right. I'm locked in. Let's do it.
This one's a fill in the blank question. The Los Gatos Legends became the Colt World Series Pony Baseball champions Thursday afternoon when they defeated title holder Levittown, Puerto Rico, Levittown's in Puerto Rico, by a score of 17-7. Blank blank of Westmont High School received the Most Outstanding Offensive Player Award. He hit 800 during the tournament, going 20 for 26. Pretty good.
So was this like high school level?
Would you like me to repeat it? I'll repeat it one more time.
Repeat, yeah, I'll take a repeat. Yeah, okay.
The Los Gatos Legends became the Colt World Series Pony Baseball champions Thursday afternoon when they defeated title holder Levittown, Puerto Rico by a score of 17-7. Blank blank of Westmont High School received the Most Outstanding Offensive Player Award. He hit 800 during the tournament, going 20 for 26.
Los Gatos. Okay, so let's think. Los Gatos, that probably implies somewhere down south, probably southwest, probably anywhere from Texas to California. So I'm trying to think of players that are like from like that general vicinity. I could rule out some players. Like it's not Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker's from Tennessee. Is it a current player on the roster?
Yes.
Okay. Los Gatos High School. I mean, I assume is a player who's not a pitcher.
It's actually Westmont High School. But yeah,
sorry,
Los Gatos Legends.
Los Gatos Legends of Westmont High School. Okay.
Not that really matters because you can't use Google or anything unless you already had just known of Westmont High School.
Right.
That was my.
I'm trying to be like as making as educated of a guess as I can.
Yeah. Dude, screw it. This one's a really hard question. I'll give you a prize if you get this one right.
All right.
I'll give you the prize I would have given you for like 30 answers right.
Okay.
If you get this right.
All right. Let me say. All right. That wouldn't be Blade. Would not be Brooker. Probably not Geloff. I'm gonna. Ooh.
You got 5 seconds. This isn't good TV, Will.
Tyler Soderstrom. No. Tyler Soderstrom.
Final answer?
Wait. Let me think about this. No. Shea Langoliers. Changing my answer.
Final answer?
Final answer. Shea Langoliers.
Trick question. It was Lucas Urseg. It wasn't a hitter the entire time.
Oh my god, dude! No, that crossed my mind too because I remember that he used to be a hitter. He used to like be like that even crossed my mind too because I knew that he like used to not be a pitcher.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because there's like some examples like exceptions, but like most pitchers in Major League Baseball were the best hitters in their town growing up. Like they were really good baseball players. So it's funny. Lucas Urseg in a high school baseball tournament. It's actually not too long ago. Hit 800, 20 for 26.
That's crazy.
Kill him, Luke.
Yeah, man, you're raked. Good for him.
But anyway, you did not rake. 0.5 for 4 there.
Right.
I'm gonna expect a bit more next time. And you're gonna expect no prizes after that. Jeez.
Woof. I deserve that. I hope that I showed off. I hope to the fans I showed off like a little bit of like like I have been reading up my A's, more than the average person. But I don't think it matters. It's score. I mean, I hope we know. You're gonna keep like scoreboarding me here, but it's, yeah.
Well, it's gonna be such a big day when you get to like 5 correct. We'll see. They're only gonna get harder. This was probably the easiest slate you're gonna get. Oh man, this was your opportunity. This was your chance, man.
I've been using context clues to the best of my ability, but they haven't honestly done much.
in all honesty, yeah, you definitely were like treating this as if it was a test you had studied for more than I expected you to. I thought it was going to be a bit more of guessing, and you were actually trying to use the context clues. So I do appreciate that hard work you were putting in. But still 0.5 for 4, 1 for 8, if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
So next time.
I might get optioned down to AAA before I get too many hits here, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah, well. And then if you're anything like Nick Allen, you're gonna answer every trivia question correctly down there.
Because they're gonna be, I'm gonna be the first ever quadruple A trivia player.
And then you're gonna get sent back up to this trivia, and I'll ask you like, "What color's the sky?" And you'll be like, "Ugh," freaks out. But that's enough Nick Allen slander for one day. And that's probably enough talking about the A's for one lifetime, but we'll keep doing it anyway. Will, anything else? Anything that you'd like to tell the people? Anything going on with the A's? Any revelations?
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen with the A's. Just in case you were sick of watching the A's lose to the Twins for 4 games straight, I got some bad news for you. They're kind of on the docket. They're on deck in terms of their next opponent. So the A's are going to be going on a 6-game homestead back at the Coliseum. They're going to be playing the Royals for 3 games, followed by a 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins again. Hogan Harris, our latest 3-star champion, is set to take the mound against Kansas City. We'll be watching. We know you'll be watching from, whether you're in that saloon bar in Pioneer Town, California, or just some random dive bar in Oakland, or from the comfort of your own home. And that, my friends, is episode 12 of Funny Ball. So thank you for tuning in.
What was Paul McCartney doing there?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
There's no other person seemingly that ever. I feel like
he probably thought it was a different place. And he's like, oh, whoa, my fault.
For you, my new song for you. It's cool.
Hi, I'm Paul.
I'm the cool Beatle.
I'm Paul, and
I'm not only the cute Beatle. I'm the cool Beatle.
He just played.
A good week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no. But I feel like Paul McCartney walked in there and just played temporary secretary for just an hour straight, just
then he did "Fuck You" after temporary secretary. He knows what the people want. Yeah. Sorry, Sir Paul. Didn't mean to go on that tangent. Love the Beatles.
I'm sure he won't care or listen, so it's fine.
No, he'll listen. He just won't care because he's the cool Beatle.
He is a cool Beatle. You can put that in the record.
Anyway, if you like podcasts that go on for 2 minutes too long, tune in next week.